And we have a cattail. Spiritual growth.
Spiritual growth.
Welcome to Unhinged. I'm your host, Michelle Cuss. And I'm here with my awesome co-host, Dr. Martin Trench, and his cat, Nina Trench.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about spiritual growth today.
And how it's very...
Tail.
Yes, I know that. I mean, like, she is literally walking in front of the screen.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cute.
spiritual growth is so different than the human effort that it's presented as in church situations.
Yeah, I think spiritual growth, like a lot of Christians, like we said before I hit record, a lot of Christians think that spiritual growth equals I can quote Bible verses and I understand the sermon. I have a certain theology. I have a certain understanding of the end times or whatever. They have a list of things that they cognitively understand, and that somehow equals spiritual growth.
It would be like having an understanding, having a degree in nutrition, but that doesn't mean that you eat nutritious meals, does it?
Right? Yeah, you could have a
You
degree in nutrition and eat ding dongs and ho hos,
y Yeah, that's right.
Twinkies.
I did buy a box of Twinkies once, you know?
Did you?
Yeah, maybe about 6 months ago or something like that.
What? 6 months ago?
Yeah, I was in Walmart, where I do not usually go to Walmart, but I was in
Yep.
Walmart because, I mean, they do have a dress code there, you know, pajamas.
Mm. Hmm. Did you wear your pajamas to Walmart?
No, I come from the UK, I don't leave the house unless my makeup's on.
Oh, okay.
So, eh, but I was in Walmart and I saw a box of Twinkies, and I thought, "I have never tasted those things, never."
Really? Gotta
So I
have a
bought
Twinkie.
so I bought a oh, but they are disgusting.
Yeah.
They are disgusting and tasteless. They taste like chemicals.
Yeah, they
So
do.
so then I Googled it. Apparently, cockroaches and Twinkies are the only thing that would survive a nuclear war.
Oh, is that right? Well, the cockroaches will have something to eat then.
They will, yeah, and then they'll die of the chemicals they've just eaten.
Yeah.
So
No.
so you can know theory
Yeah.
about nutrition, and you can still eat junk food,
Yeah.
right? Because knowing the theory is not the same as putting the right things into your body. And it's the same with spiritual growth. I mean, nutrition is not about knowing the theory. The whole purpose of knowing the theory of nutrition is so your body is at its healthiest.
Mhm.
And the whole purpose of spiritual growth is so that we are spiritually and emotionally at our healthiest,
Mhm.
that we are becoming healthier spiritually and
Yeah.
emotionally. And being able to quote Bible verses doesn't cut it.
Yeah. And there's the like we were talking about this inability to get past this wall, this cognitive wall where this is what I was taught. This is the thing that I have ingrained in my mind. I can't see it any other way than the way I was taught. I don't know if that has to do with this principle of first mention, like the first time you hear something,
Mhm.
you compare it against that thing you were originally
Yeah.
taught, or there's like a confirmation bias where I only see things through my own lens, my own bias.
Mhm.
I
And
think
that's a subconscious thing. So the first thing that you learn about a topic, something you've never heard before, the first thing you learn about it, you integrate it right down into your subconscious mind. Then when you hear new information, contradictory information, it's at your conscious mind that you're weighing up the two
mm,
things. So you don't actually take the new information right in
mm,
if it contradicts the existing information, unless you first dismantle and debunk
mm,
the existing information.
and
And then and the reason it's subconscious is because it's not just the information, you have an emotional attachment to it. Your favorite pastor told you it, or your
mm,
parents taught it to you. And for you to now renounce that belief is dishonorable or something like that to
Mhm.
the people that you respect who taught you it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Like as a pastor over the years, anytime we did baptism services, there would always be somebody who was coming to the church who loved God, who was growing in their faith, but maybe they were brought up in a church that baptizes babies. And a lot of them struggled with making a decision to get baptized. And I would say, why? Why is it such a big deal? Well, it's disrespectful to my parents.
Mhm.
It's like I'm renouncing what my parents did.
Yeah.
I would try to reframe it. Well, how about if it's just like some people are married and then a number of years later they renew their wedding vows? What if you're
Mhm.
just renewing your vows, you know,
Mhm.
rather than renouncing what your parents did? But it was like a struggle because and so if that's the case with baptism, I think it's the case with a lot of our beliefs.
Hmm.
We have an emotional attachment to them.
That is interesting. That explains why you get so much pushback on some of those
Mhm,
posts that you have that are more a little bit more like you're poking the bear posts.
mhm.
You
They're
get
my
some
favorites.
pushback either privately or just
Yeah.
publicly in the comments. So, can we talk about the bloom where you're planted thing?
Mhm,
Because I thought this was a fascinating conversation, and I jumped on that call a little bit late, but somebody asked the question in your school community about this phrase, "Bloom where you're planted." And we hear that a lot. We see it on T-shirts and, plaques, "Bloom where you're planted." I told you my church, one of their mottos is, like, they have T-shirts that say, "Love where you live," which is great, like, sounds great, but the truth is you can't always bloom where you're planted. You can't put a daffodil seed in Antarctica and expect it to come up. Like, there
that's
are
right.
some environments that are not going to support what.
Exactly. Didn't didn't Jesus give us a parable about that? And
Yeah,
some seed fell along the rocky ground, and some
right.
seed fell along the path. Those seeds were never going to bloom where they were planted.
Yeah.
And so here's a question. If bloom where you're planted, and for anybody listening, I know that's a phrase that is used in the wider world, but in the Christian world, it usually means in the church that you currently attend.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it
Yeah.
often means.
Yeah.
In the church, don't go don't go looking for the perfect church. There is no perfect church.
Mhm.
Bloom where you're planted,
Yeah.
okay? Right. If that phrase is so true, why are there so many people not blooming? Why are they not blooming? Now, there are some people who bloom where they're planted
Mhm.
because where they have been planted is the perfect environment for them.
Yeah.
But that
Exactly.
doesn't mean everybody will bloom where they're planted, and there's
Right.
plenty of people who have been planted. I mean, another verse that goes along with that, and one that I even used to use when I was a pastor, it comes from one of the Psalms. I can't remember which one, but it's like the righteous person will do this, that, and the next thing. And then it says, planted in the house of the Lord, they shall flourish.
Mm.
So there's even a verse that you can use to back up bloom where you're planted. If you get planted in the house of the Lord, you will flourish.
Mm.
Okay, that's good. What about all the people who are not flourishing and
Mhm.
yet they have been planted in the same church for a long, long time? Are we going to go into spiritual denial and just pretend they're all blooming? Or are we going to be honest and say some people bloom where they're planted and some people really, really struggle
Mhm.
where they're planted?
Yeah.
And then the second thing about that is, what does it mean to bloom?
Yeah.
So we're
I
talking
was
about
wondering that.
flowers, right?
Mhm.
So a flower starts off, a flower bulb is really tight together, and as the sun shines on it or whatever, it gradually and slowly, incrementally, not not able to be detected by the human eye.
Mhm.
It's really slow, but it gradually and slowly opens up until all the beauty within it is now shining on the outside. That's
Yeah.
what blooming is, right?
Mhm.
So if we want people to bloom, what we are saying is they have something beautiful within them. They have a treasure. We have this treasure in earthen vessels, right? We've got
Mhm.
something, God has put something really beautiful and something that can make the world a better place and all of that stuff inside of us. But we're like mummies bound and bandaged. We're like Lazarus when he came out of the tomb. We're still all bound, right?
Mhm.
And as the sunlight of grace is coming on us more and more, over our entire life, we will gradually be unfolding. It's not that we will find something else. What is already in us will gradually more and more become visible to the outside world.
Mhm.
That's what it means to bloom. Some people bloom where they're planted, and some people put on a good face where they're planted. But that doesn't mean what is truly within them is coming out,
Yeah.
because some churches, some some theologies, some legalistic people don't want what you've got inside of you to come out. They want everybody to look the same on the outside. You know, the one size fits all thing. All
Yeah.
Christians should
Yeah.
A, B, C, and D.
Mhm.
Well, that's like the flower is all still all tied up, and we're now going to dress it up with things on the outside.
Mhm.
But their true nature is never revealed. What
Yeah.
people truly think inside, how they truly feel about things inside, never comes out to the outside. So even those poking the bear type of social media posts that
Mhm.
I from time to time indulge
Yeah.
in, um,
Yeah.
they the whole purpose of that is to get people to almost provoke people to resist what I'm saying and then hopefully question why they're why am I resisting that?
Mhm.
You know, the whole deconstruction, reconstruction thing that we've talked about. That is us allowing people to honestly share on the outside how they feel about things on the inside.
And it's providing a safe place to do it. Like, in your community is a safe place
Hmm.
to do that, and that's really important because some people I mean, everybody needs a safe place to do it, but some people who've learned how to perform in
Hmm.
church because they were in an environment like that or whatever, they've learned how to perform and wear a mask in church. They need a safe place where they can be who they are and say the things they need to say.
Especially if they have been shut down anytime they've tried to open up
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Shut down with a Bible verse, usually, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
We then have large numbers of Christians who are being fake on the outside, not because they want to be fake. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that want to put on a good image, but your average person, your average Christian just wants to know God, know that God's involved in their life, and know that their life is kinda going in the right direction, generally speaking, right? That's what
Mhm.
most Christians would want. And so a lot of Christians have learned that the way to navigate in the church is to keep your opinions private and to
Mm.
yourself and not share them. So you could be and doubt yourself because whatever you're feeling is obviously wrong
Mhm.
because everybody else agrees,
Yeah.
right? So you could be sitting in church and hearing some hellfire and brimstone message, and you could be sitting there thinking, this doesn't sit right with me. This doesn't sound like Jesus or the father welcoming the prodigal son home or eh, shut up, just shut up. I don't know what I'm talking about. And
Mhm.
instead of blossoming, you tighten up even more.
Yeah.
So if we want people to blossom, what we are saying is we want the true, authentic person on the inside to feel safe showing that to the outside. And there are
Even
some,
if it's messy.
even if it's, and it will be messy
Mhm.
because humans are messy,
Right.
you know? It's kind of like weeks ago when we did the sex episode
Mhm.
and it's, and then the marriage and divorce ones. And we talked a bit about the formula, like the evangelical formula for gender roles and marriage and all of that kind of stuff. People are being taught a formula for a relationship, right?
Mhm.
That's not how relationships work. It's two unique, different people learning about each other and finding out how they fit together. But with a lot of teaching, a lot of Christian teaching about marriage and gender roles and things like that, it's like if you get this all down correctly, you won't make any mistakes. You won't have any tensions or problems in your marriage. That's not real life.
Mhm.
We didn't
Yeah.
come to this world to have no problems. We came here to have problems, right? And
Mhm.
to learn to like, how can you love someone if you have to be fake with each other? And so that kind of model is not just about gender roles and marriage, it's about everything in the Christian church. You know,
Yeah.
like you're not praying properly, or you
Mm.
don't read the Bible properly, or you're not volunteering enough, and or
Mhm.
whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Um, there's like, oh, so I need to now but all of the feelings, all of the discomfort I have with certain things, and God may have put that discomfort there because maybe I'm called to change that, right? So I've
Yep.
got discomfort about certain things. I've got my own thoughts about how things should be done. I feel things in a certain way. I've got different gifts from other people. All of that's in the inside. And if I cannot genuinely and authentically be myself and show that on the outside, because other people might think it's not appropriate or something,
Mhm.
like the Pharisees thought it was not appropriate that this woman with a sketchy history was pouring oil on Jesus' feet and crying with them, and they were really, really uncomfortable with all of
Mhm.
that. That was
Yeah.
not proper decorum, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And Jesus was totally chill with the whole thing,
Mhm.
you know? And even Peter, you know, continually opening his mouth and putting his foot in it type of thing. "I will never deny you, Lord." And Jesus is like, "Oh, come on, buddy. You're gonna do it 3 times," you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, Jesus was totally chill with people being their authentic self,
Mhm.
with all their flaws.
Mhm.
And so, for instance, if 2 people want to get married, it will be messy at times. They're getting to know each other, do you
Mhm.
know? And they are learning to mature by working through whatever it is that's bothering them and so on. But if they've
Mhm.
been given a list of here's your role as a husband and here's your role as a wife, don't think for yourself. It doesn't matter how you feel. There must be people who feel like they're dying inside in a
Mhm.
marriage, in a church, someplace else. They are not thriving. So bloom where you're planted. Okay, some people will bloom where they're planted.
Mhm.
Other people will never be able to bloom in a certain environment because it just is it doesn't have the right nutrition for them.
Yeah.
The seed has been cast on rocky soil and not
Mhm.
in good soil. And then there are other people who will try to bloom where they're planted, but as soon as they open up authentically, they will be shut down again.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking about, like, churches I've been a part of where I bloomed or I maybe bloomed for a season, and then I felt like I couldn't go any further, because this is where kind of there was, like, a stopping point or something. I don't know
Mm,
how to explain it.
yeah.
And I was like, "I'm ready to keep going." Like, Jesus said to the couple on the road to Emmaus, you know, "Let's keep going." He wanted to keep going, and they're like, "No, let's stop here." And I felt like that in some of my churches, like, "Nope, we're gonna stop here." And I'm like, "Well, I wanna keep going." And
Not just the road to Emmaus, even in the when Jesus walks on the water. I can't remember which gospel
mm.
it is, but one of them mentions Jesus looked like he was about to walk right past them and keep going. And it's like Jesus is
Yeah,
always wanting to keep going, and we're always trying to hold him where we are.
where it's safe, where it feels comfortable,
Mhm.
yeah, where there's no risk involved. I think it's really important, this whole idea of feeling safe, if you don't feel safe, they're not your people.
Mhm.
You know, like, you have to feel safe in your environment to be able to bloom
Mhm.
in that environment. It doesn't matter how good the teaching is, how good the worship is. If you don't feel safe to be seen and to
Mhm.
be known, you're never gonna bloom there. Like, those aren't your people. You need to be able to be authentic,
I'll
as
tell you,
messy as that is.
as messy as it is, that's true. Because it's almost like we've demonized humanity.
Mhm,
And humanity, we are humans, and humanity, we are not God. We don't already know everything.
mhm.
We're learning. Like,
Yeah,
I remember when my first son was born, I remember holding him and not feeling what I thought you were supposed to feel. I thought,
mm,
"I've never felt love like this in my life." You know, that's what people say. I'm holding
mhm.
this little baby thinking, "You look like a little alien," and like, you're a total stranger to me.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
a total stranger, and I now have to look after you,
mhm,
right? Now give it a few days, and I was totally in love, you
mhm.
know? But, um
Yeah,
But I remember actually feeling guilty inside because I didn't feel euphoric the first time I held my first ever child. And then I realized why I didn't. I thought, I've never been a parent before.
yeah, mhm,
This is my first time.
mhm.
I'm gonna, people that have had a few, so I've had 4 kids. I noticed that you get more and more whatever with each one that's born.
That
It's
is
like
so true. Oh, my 3rd born is the
by the
product
time
of the whatever mom.
By the time the 4th one's born, one of the kids is shouting, "They're about to smash the TV with a hammer." Yeah, yeah. What?
Whatever.
Okay. But the first time you're so uptight
Yeah.
and
Yep.
okay,
Yep.
and because it's the first time you've ever done it, we are humans. Everything we do, it's
Mhm.
the first time you've ever done it.
Mhm.
When it is the first time, right? So it's the first time you've ever done it. You have no experience. You're
Mhm.
learning. You're going to make mistakes.
Mhm.
Mistakes are not haram, you know? They're not they're not the
Okay, what
same.
in English?
That's the Arabic word for forbidden or sins, right?
Yeah.
They're not, uh making a mistake is not like committing a sin.
Yeah.
It's not a moral failure or something
Mhm.
like that. We are learning, and so humanness is going to be messy. One of the reasons I love The Chosen so much is because you can read the scriptures and you're still thinking textually words and what words mean and so on. But when you actually see it enacted before you, you realize all of the humanity that was going on,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
All of the hurt feelings and the person who's been abused and is broken and has a low self-esteem and all. Like, it's normal human life.
Yeah. Yeah, we miss so much of that, I think, when we read.
And we especially miss it when we're all prim and proper in our
Mhm.
religious environments. And Michelle, do you want to know what's the if people don't know what I'm talking about, become a pastor for a little while and go to pastors' gatherings, pastors' prayer meetings, and you will meet the fakest people on planet Earth.
Mm.
They've all got their big Bibles with them, bless God, and they're all and they all and it's like, I don't believe
Yeah.
you people talk like that in real life.
Mhm.
Um, everybody's uptight. Everyone is actually uptight. It's all a
Mhm.
performance.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to look more worldly than another person or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
And I just blow into these places and say a swear word and
Light up a cigarette.
yeah, I'm taking can I vape some, please? It's like
Are you sure you're in the right conference, buddy? I think you're
and,
down the hall.
I know. I mean, like, you wouldn't believe the things I've seen at pastors'
Oh,
gatherings.
I
It's like
believe it.
I mean, like, we're meeting for coffee and to pray together, and all these guys walk in with suits and shirts and ties with gold pins in their ties, walking about, ba 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 ba, speaking in tongues all the time up and down the corridors, and I'm like, "Oh, chill and be normal, will you? Can you just be normal? I mean, like, I can do the tongues thing too, but I can also be normal, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's and nobody wants to let their guard down in case they're judged in some way
Yeah.
or other. And I it's not that I don't think I'm a better person because I'm more authentic than other people. I just have a low tolerance for all that BS. I can't do
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
I literally cannot do it.
Yeah. It's exhausting and just bleh. It's
And when
gross.
you think that Jesus called the Pharisees hypocrites, and that the word hypocrite comes from the theater, it's an
Yeah.
actor who wears a
Acting.
mask.
Yeah. It's an acting word. Yeah.
And it's like, so we are all actors wearing masks.
Yeah.
We are
Acting.
literally hypocrites.
Hey, so I want to talk to you a little bit more about this idea of bloom where you're planted, because this idea on the surface sounds really beautiful, doesn't it? It sounds so faithful and resilient and spiritual. But in a lot of church spaces, especially in evangelical culture, this phrase has been used to keep people stuck or silent or slowly withering away. And we call it faithfulness, right? We call it being faithful to our house or wherever we grew up, but it's not always the healthiest thing for us. And I want to explain why. First of all, your environment matters a lot. Not all soil is good soil. Some churches operate in fear based theology, control heavy leadership, image management, performance culture. We talked about all of those topics in our episode on the evangelical industrial complex. That is not good soil. There are healthy churches. I posted on my Facebook a couple days ago about 5 green flags that you can look for in healthy churches that don't operate in that way. But you just cannot thrive in a place that is actively working against the way that you're wired. Telling someone to bloom where they're planted, imagine putting a tulip bulb into the ground in Antarctica and saying, you know what, just bloom where you're planted. It sounds pretty ridiculous when you think of it that way. Second problem, this promotes self-blame in kind of a subtle way. If you are saying, you know what, I should just bloom where I'm planted, I'm here, I need to bloom here, and then you're not flourishing, you're not blooming, you're not feeling nourished, you start to ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Especially if you look around and you see other people blooming. Instead of asking yourself, is this a healthy and supportive environment for me? You ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Like, they're doing fine and they're doing fine. What's wrong with me? Maybe I need more faith, or maybe I need a better attitude. Maybe I just need to try harder. And we can talk ourselves into this. And meanwhile, your nervous system is like, alert, this is not safe for you. This is not aligned for you. This is not the place for you. But guess what? In a lot of evangelical culture, we have been trained to not trust our inner voice, that inner discernment. We end up overriding our own internal discernment, and it becomes self-abandonment or self-betrayal. Very common in evangelical culture to override your own discernment and learn to not trust yourself. And you replace self-trust with self-abandonment. And instead of being encouraged to develop discernment, you develop self-abandonment. And you override your intuition, your gut hunch about something, your emotions, even your body. What is your body telling you? Your lived experience, what's that telling you? We are trained to override all those things and overthink all those things and not trust those things. And that's not spiritual maturity. That is disconnection from the part of you where God wants to meet with you and speak to you. Here's another problem. This idea of bloom where you're planted reinforces spiritual passivity. It sounds very noble, right? But what it translates to is stay put no matter what. Bolt the back door. Don't question your leadership. Don't trust your inner signals. This is not how growth works. Growth is a dance. Our relationship with God is dynamic. It's out of responsiveness, not resignation. Oh, well, this is just where I grew up. This is the church I grew up in. I'm just going to stay here and bloom where I'm planted. No, you're in a dynamic relationship with God, and those things are allowed to change over time. Here's another problem. It confuses endurance with your actual calling and purpose. So, yes, sometimes we are called to stay put in hard seasons and to not jump ship. That's definitely valid. But not every hard place is a divine assignment. Not every hard place is some character building boot camp for you, or where God just has you for a season for a reason, or whatever cliche you want to give it. Sometimes it's just not the place for you, and that's not a failure, okay? Here's another issue. It disconnects people from their design and their alignment with that design. We did a whole teaching series on align with your design and talked about how people have different personalities, different spiritual gifts, different wiring, different life experiences, and different people thrive in different environments. People like different leadership styles, different theological frameworks, different expressions of church. Some people love the structure of liturgy. Other people love the freedom of charismatic worship. Everyone is wired differently. And so if you are in a place that doesn't really match your internal wiring, it's going to be really hard for you to flourish and bloom where you're planted. So that phrase, bloom where you're planted, really ignores your unique wiring. And your environment actually does shape your identity, whether you like it or not, whether you realize it or not. From a neuroscience perspective, your environment is constantly shaping you. Your brain is wiring and rewiring itself around what is repeated and reinforced and rewarded in that environment. And so you learn kind of what is safe by reading the room. You adapt your behavior to maintain belonging in that environment and attachment in that environment. And if you've got people-pleasing tendencies, you can very easily adapt your behavior to what's rewarded in that environment. So if you're in an environment that rewards compliance and performance and image management, or even things you don't believe in, like tithing or, God hates divorce or whatever, like if you are in an environment that promotes those beliefs and you don't say anything or you quiet that in yourself, there is an internal cognitive dissonance that starts to form. And it really can start to shape the way that you are. You can start to become a different version of you that survives that environment. And so we don't want to be outsourcing our very identity, our very sense of self to an environment that we are not in alignment with. We don't want to be reinforcing a false self. That's another topic that we talked about on this podcast is your true self versus your false self. And so we don't want to be staying in misaligned environments too long because you can end up starting to feel like you are losing yourself or losing certainty, losing a sense of your deeper identity. So it's an important thing to think about. And I want to give you a helpful reframe for this phrase, bloom where you're planted. And it's this. Instead of bloom where you're planted, bloom where you are nourished. Okay? Or plant yourself where you can actually thrive. Or here's another one. Grow where you're supported and not just tolerated. Healthy spiritual formation is not about forcing some sort of blooming to happen. The blooming happens by itself, as Martin was describing, of that flower bulb starting out tight and then it just opens naturally as you're in the right environment. It's about participating in the life of God with God and honoring your unique design and intentionally choosing environments that align and cooperate with that internal wiring, not choke it out. And so I am not encouraging you to just jump ship and leave your place or whatever, but I am asking you to reflect on these things a little bit and just think about, is this environment supporting my growth, my theology, my identity, my wiring, all of those things? it's just worth reflecting on a little bit this week. So that would be my challenge to you. And if you want to do that in a community setting, I would love to invite you into Martin's community. He's actually doing a 30-day spiritual growth challenge inside of his school community all throughout the month of May. I would love to see you in there. All of his challenges so far this year have been amazing. So if this is something that's resonating with you, I would encourage you to check that out. I'll leave a link down in the notes. And thanks so much for joining us today on this episode, and we'll see you again on the next one. I'm going to need you to come to Chicago and plant a church. I just realized, Martin. Are you down for that? Because I want to go to that church. What?
I'll check my diary to see if I've got time to do that.
See if you have time to do that. Yeah, I want to go to that church.